So as the old saying goes, the more some things change, the more some things stay the same. Take those silly Democrats. They didn't learn their lesson, did they? Especially in the 2024 election. They tried to weaponize the Department of Justice under the guise of Sleepy Joe Biden from all corners of the country, in all levels of federal government. They turned judges against Donald J. Trump and tried to block what ultimately happened, Trump becoming the 47th president of the United States, as we, the people, spoke. It didn't work, but here we are, the Democrats back at it. One-trick ponies. Trump, in his second go-around as 47th president of the U.S., has obstacles and roadblocks put in the way by way of the radical left. They're using their swamp monsters, judges on all levels of federal government, to block Trump from carrying out his promises that he made to the American people, like deporting thousands of illegal immigrants who invaded this sovereign nation, the United States of America. They're taking out the gang members like Tren de Aragua, MS-13. And judges like this are trying to prevent them. A couple weeks ago, Trump able to get a couple hundred to super max prison in El Salvador. There you see it, the stuff that nightmares are made of, and the perfect home, the Disney World, for these scumbags, the dregs of humanity. Thank the president of El Salvador, and thank the 47th president of the United States, taking the dirtbags off our streets. But judges like this, trying to prevent the flights from continuing to El Salvador with injunctions. Judge James Boasberg. Also this clown right here. Judge Edward M. Chin of Northern California, San Francisco area. Look at the headlines. They'll tell the story. This is just from tonight. And in one of those headlines, to the bottom right corner, you'll see GOP lawmakers take aim at anti-Trump rulings, nationwide injunctions. And leading the charge is a hardened, old school senator, to say the least, 91 years young, Chuck Grassley of Iowa. He's been in politics since 1958, been in the Senate representing the Hawkeye State since 1981. And he is trying to introduce this bill. A plan to stop judges from carrying out their checks and balances powers. Judges have issued at least a dozen nationwide injunctions against the Trump administration since he took office in January. And that bill basically says that the judges are limited in trying to have presidential-like powers. And they can only do so much with their injunctions. They can't just dole them out left and right and put the kibosh on what the President of the United States, the Commander-in-Chief, has in his best interest as carrying out acts of the President, again, on the behalf of we, the people, something that POTUS 47 spoke to the American public about himself the week before last with Laura Ingraham from Fox News. Take a look and listen.
He's radical left. He was Obama appointed. And he actually said we shouldn't be able to take criminals, killers, murderers, horrible, the worst people, gang members, gang leaders, that we shouldn't be allowed to take them out of our country. Well, that's a presidential job. That's not for a local judge to be making that determination.
Meanwhile, the Democrats, well, as they try to weaponize these judges, the one thing I will say about the Democrats, they have absolutely no shame, and I give them respect on one front because they don't try to hide it. They tell you, this is how we're going to roll. Take a listen to Democrat Senate leader Chuck Schumer, who talked about this just a couple of weeks ago and having those judges in their pocket.
There are those who believe that we are in real time living through an assault on the constitutional order. Do you believe that we are in a constitutional crisis right now?
Yes, our democracy is at risk because Donald Trump shows that he wishes to violate the laws in many, many different ways. The good news here is we did put 235 judges, progressive judges, judges not under the control of Trump last year on the bench, and they are ruling against Trump time after time after time. And we hope that the appellate courts, when it gets up there in the Supreme Court, will uphold those rulings. They restored the money to NIH. They required that 8,000 federal employees have to come back. We're in over 100 lawsuits against them, and we are having a good deal of success.
And again, there you have it from one of the bigger all-time pieces of you-know-what in the history of American politics. Old Chucky Schumer. And you know, Schumer did that interview right after he came to terms with the GOP on preventing a shutdown of the American government. He's still not the most liked guy, perhaps the most hated man now amongst the Democrats. Yep, rats, they eat themselves time and time again. But Chuck did that interview, and he looked to save face by, again, boasting and bragging about those 200 plus judges they have, the swamp monsters that I mentioned in all levels of federal government that will look to provide a roadblock at every avenue President Trump looks to take in rolling out that agenda. This is going to be a battle until the end. But like I said, Trump, he managed to quash the rad left and take him out on the battleground in becoming president of the United States. And guess what? He's now the commander-in-chief. Trump will again get the last laugh in his battle against these judges throughout the United States who are looking to prevent making America great again.